Hey YouTube, Qualia here, bringing you all an update to my Sylvanhorn Beast Magnolia deck profile for post-Dragontree invasion. We did get a couple new cards for the Magnolia deck in set 9 of Cardfight Vanguard. Wanted to update the deck. The deck focuses on just being able to have multiple attacks, even by units, in your back row rear guards. For those of you that didn't know, we're focusing on the grade 4 variant of the deck. There's really no specifications for any of the new cards we got that make it so you have to have the grade 3 Magnolia as your Vanguard. So we're sticking to the grade 4 plays just for its overall consistency, triple drive power, all the works for the deck. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the ride deck for our grade 0, running the Sylvanhorn Beast lot. When rode upon, if you went second, draw a card. Pretty standard setup there. Our grade 1 is Sylvanhorn Beast Charis. When rode upon by Sylvanhorn Beast Lattice, you may reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a grade 2 or less unit, call it to rear guard. If it isn't, put it into your soul. And from the back row, during the battle this unit attacked, it gets plus 5,000. You mostly use it for the setup of your units for the back row grade 2 or less call, with Lattice being our grade 2 we use. When rode upon by Sylvanhorn Beast King Magnolia, you can Soul Blast 1, reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a unit card, call it to rear guard, and if it isn't, you put it into your hand. So at least with this card, if you reveal a non-unit card, which we aren't running too many of them in the deck, you can at least add that other card to your hand. With our grade 3 being Sylvanhorn Beast King Magnolia, at the end of the battle, this unit attack, counter blast 1, and choose one of your rear guards, and until end of turn, that unit can attack from the back row, and it gets plus 5,000 power. You have the additional Persona Ride ability, but we aren't running any other copies of this card in the deck, so we really won't ever resolve this play. For the grade 4 units, we are running 4 copies of Sylvanhorn Beast Emperor Magnolia Elder. When this unit is placed on Vanguard, choose a card from your soul, and you may call it to rear guard. And if you have one or more cards in your soul or on your rear guard with Magnolia in their card name, all your rear guards can attack and intercept from the back row, and they get plus 5,000 power. So that's just the added power and what your Magnolia could have initially done to begin with without having to go for the Persona Ride. You have the triple drive power of your Magnolia Elder, and also just the additional setup that this card can provide when you have your Magnolia rear guard or just another one in the soul, which you can always just ride another Magnolia Elder to then call the additional Magnolia out onto the soul, and then have one additional one on your soul and on your Vanguard circle. For our new units, I'm also running 3 copies of the new Sylvanhorn Beast Winds of Who from the deck or in your hand if you have a grade 2 or greater Vanguard with Sylvanhorn Beast and its card name. Different from this card gets grade -1. So from your deck or hand, you have the options for this card to be regarded as a grade 2, which works well for the ride deck as well when you reveal the card being a unit card to rear guard, and then also just being the option if you do reveal it off of your Charis to call it early on. And if your Vanguard has Magnolia in its card name and was placed this turn, this unit gets plus 10,000 power on rear guard, giving you another 2,300 attack point power plus an additional 5k power with your Magnolia Elder on the rear guard to have your Winds of Who attack for 28k from the back row rear guard circle. Also running the 4 copies of the Blue Artillery Dragon and the Pulse Dragon. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked a grade 3 or greater Vanguard. And with this card, getting mostly for the play at the end of the battle, the total number of attacks this turn is 4 or more. Put this unit into your soul, and you draw a card. So it builds up your soul power for some of the other cards that we run in the deck, but also just being able to have this card give you a draw makes it so if your opponent were to try to take away one of your rear guards, you can at least put the Inlet Pulse into the soul, giving you a draw, and setting up for some of your other soul blasts later on. For the grade 2s, ideally I do want to run 4 copies of the new Sylvanhorn Beast Gold Dote with this card. From the drop zone, when your Vanguard with Magnolia and its card name is placed during your ride phase, if your soul does not have a Sylvanhorn Beast Gold Dote, put this card into the soul and choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets plus 5,000 till end of turn. So this card helps just for the fact that most of the time you'll have a rear guard behind your Magnolia Elder that you want to attack with. So you can have a bigger attack boost thanks to Gold Dote, putting your Magnolia Elder at 18k power with triple drive. And from the back row rear guard, when this unit attacks, it gets plus 10,000 till end of battle. At the end of that battle, if this unit is in the center column, retire this card and draw a card. So it gives you draw power, and then potentially just another way for you to put Gold out from the drop zone into your soul for you then to give your Vanguard plus 5k power. If you don't have the Gold out, you can put the Pantheros for the Sylvan Beast Pantheros in replacement. They're not too expensive now, just need the 3 additional copies for the deck. For some of the other grade 2s that we run in the deck, we run the 3 Sylvan Beast M-Picks from the back row rear guard. This unit gets plus 10,000 power, and if you have 3 or less rear guards, put all the rear guards in the same column as this unit. Cannot be chosen by your opponent's card effects. So with this card just having more of a protection card if your opponent were to try and take away your other rear guards, making it so just protecting all of those rear guards in the same column as your Sylvan Beast M-Picks. And then for some of the other grade 2s, I do run the 2 copies of Sylvan Beast Geonosia. From the back row rear, when this unit attacks, counterblast 1, choose one of your other rear guards, and it gets this unit's power until end of turn. So you can increase any of your other units' power based on the power of your Geonosia. So it's just a 2-of play. You can have this card set up on the rear guard and then just have some bigger power columns depending on when this unit attacks. Getting the additional +5 from your Magnolia Elder, and then also just being able to give that additional power to one of your other units for the cost of a counterblast, which we really don't use the counterblast for much else in the deck since there's not even a soul blast or a counterblast that your Magnolia Elder provides. Now the one unit I could not find, but I definitely do want to run in the deck, and that is the Sylvan Beast Alpine, the goat looking card, or the Alpine Goat. If you wanted to run that card in the deck, I have 2 copies of Sylvan Beast Kamapu and the 2 Explorer of the Grand Ravine, Sakat, in here as placeholders, but I would replace all copies of this card as you get additional copies of it with the Sylvan Beast Alpine, just so you have the better back row power unit in the form of that card. It came out in set 7, but I sadly, like I said, don't have any of those cards, or I don't know where I put them. I know I had them from the last video, and you can just replace the 4 copies of these units for that card. The only grade 1 that we run in the deck is the Sentinel Planner Prevent Dragon. You just have so much rearguard attack power in this deck that we stuck to the grade 2s and 3s that you can use for all of your rearguard attacks. Planner Prevent Dragon just being in here for the Sentinel of choice. If you wanted to run Elementaria Sanctitude, you could always replace 1 copy of the Planner Prevent Dragon. With our orders being 2 copies of Wild Intelligence, you play this card with a counterblast 1, discard 3 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 card with the same grade as your Vanguard or lower from your drop zone, call it your rearguard. If your Vanguard is Sylvan Beast King Magnolia, choose 2 cards instead. So you still get a call, and most of the time you want to use this card on your grade 3, so you get the additional 2 to call out. Otherwise, you still have the call for 1 and, a grade or 4 or less for your Magnolia Elder when it's your Vanguard. For our trigger lineup, we're running the 4 copies of Aspiring Maiden Alana for the additional critical power and the soul buildup. The 4 copies of Serene Maiden Lena. Now, I am running Rainbow for the lineup. The back row has some power that you can get with the draw triggers, but still, you want to have some power go to the front row as well for that pressure. So the 3 copies of Frenzied Heiress for that spot also, with 2 heals being the Sylvan Beast heal trigger, 1 copy of Fairy Asher, and the 1 Alchemic Hedgehog for the additional shield power that these cards can get when going up against a critical 2 or multiple attack unit. And our over trigger being the Bless Favor over trigger for the heal power, pressure to the front row once again, and additional critical to your unit. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Like I said, just a quick update for the set 9 support that we got from the 9th booster set Dragontree Invasion for the Magnolia deck. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.